Yeah, the reason I know, look at this plot here, has been reserved. Is this quite bizarre? She's a huge fan of Peter Sellers and she insisted on being buried beside him. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am a bit quieter and being a bit more silent. Welcome back to another vlog. It's the 1st of October. You can see I'm standing in some beautiful, stunning grounds. Would you believe I'm actually in a garden of rest in a crematorium, a mausoleum and crematorium, one of the most famous in the UK, the busiest crematorium in the UK. Today I want to take you on a journey of one of the most beautiful spiritual places of rest I have ever visited in London. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Halloween. We are spending the day with the dead and the peaceful dead. This is Golders Green Crematorium. So, just starting with a bit of the history, this is the building itself, but in the year 1900 there was a constant increasing pressure on the only crematorium in London, which was the very first in Woking, and they decided to establish a new crematorium in London, and the London Cremation Company was founded essentially, and the members of their council decided in 1902 to open up a new crematorium here in Golders Green. And it was opened to the public by the late Sir Henry Thompson, who was the president and founder of the Cremation Society of England. So this actual crematorium has seen all walks of life have their services here, from peers to prime ministers to personalities in the realm of art, science, medicine, music, literature, entertainment. They have all been cremated here at Golders Green. And the actual number of cremations since 1902 is in excess of 319,838, and is by far the most cremations carried out above any other crematorium in the United Kingdom. So I wanted to take you on a little walk around here, but I also want to be quite respectful because it is a garden of rest, you guys. Hi guys, so just due to a slight little technical error with my microphone, I'm just going to do a little voiceover for the first 10 or 15 minutes of this walk. And after that will just be me walking around the beautiful cemetery. So this they call Musician's Corner, you guys. And here we have some very famous people that have plaques dedicated to them. First one here is David Guest. He was a producer, comedian, and the ex-husband of Liza Minnelli. Now, we'll try to get some clips and pictures of him as well as we're talking about them, of all these people today. Now, there's another few around here that I wanted to show you as well. This one in particular, here we have Ronni Scott, the famous jazz musician, and he played saxophone actually on the Lady Madonna track for the Beatles. He is also, of course, of Ronni Scott fame, the jazz club in Soho, which originated on Gerrard Street, an incredible jazz musician and pioneer of music in our time. Speaking of music, here as well, you have, of course, Marc Bolan from the band T-Rex. I'll tell you a little bit more about Marc later on as we will visit his actual resting place. 25 years of his light of love still shines brightly. And his memorial plaque was placed up here by the official Marc Bolan fan club and fellow fans to commemorate the 25th anniversary of his passing. Now, we will be heading to his grave, so I'll talk to you a little bit more about Marc Bolan in just a few moments. Now, there is also Keith Moon, the famous eccentric drummer of The Who, known, of course, for his lavish rock and roll lifestyle. He actually died of an overdose, ironically from a drug which was prescribed to him to help him with alcohol withdrawal. And what's even more bizarre is he died in 9 Curzon Place, which is actually in Mayfair. Now, he was renting the space from his friend Harry Nilsson, the famous singer, and strangely, 4 years earlier, Mama Cass, real name Cass Eliot, had also died in the very same apartment. Harry Nilsson was actually so traumatized by the death of both of his friends, he actually sold the apartment in Curzon Place to Pete Townsend of The Who. Now, I've done a little video on that as well, so we will get some information, or I'll try and put a link to that little short I've done on that tragic rock star house in the middle of Mayfair. Now, around here as well, we also have some very famous stars of the screen in the UK. And here's the much loved and beloved Barbara Windsor. Dame Barbara Windsor was a massive fan favourite in the UK. She lost her life in 2020. Now, she very famously played a very tough lady, Peggy Mitchell, in EastEnders, but I suppose her breakout and the role she's infamous for were the 9 Carry On films she starred in. As she was a good bird. Isn't that gorgeous, written underneath? And we have more of these dedications on the wall. Ed Devereaux, he was another very famous actor who's commemorated here. So stars of screen and stage and musicians all being commemorated in this beautiful little corner they call Musicians' Corner. Now, this is the Commonwealth grave here, and this is maintained to commemorate the soldiers who died in the First and Second World Wars. This is maintained, of course, by the Ministry of Defence themselves. But everywhere you go, there is a plaque commemorating people who have been laid to rest here. Now, there has also been a number of people who have been cremated here, but whose ashes have been taken elsewhere. And we will go through a few of those names very shortly, but I want to take you on a little walk first. There is the actual crematorium building itself, and we're going to take a walk just up this little pathway, you guys. So over the years, there have been close to 320,000 cremations carried out here. Apparently, they do about 2,000 a year. I myself actually attended 2 recent services in a crematorium, and one was in this cemetery, actually. My very good friend's mum passed away. May she rest in peace, bless her. And another one was in Ireland. Now, this is just my own personal experience as a Catholic girl, but I've always found that over the years, I've always been subjected to Irish wakes, and from a very young age, we were, well, I guess, exposed to dead bodies, and it's actually quite traumatizing. But the one thing I have to say is I found cremation so much more peaceful. The service of the cremation, not the actual act of burial, which terrified me as a young girl. So I think, well, personally, for me, this is the way to go. So you have a lot of the famous people cremated here actually chose to have their ashes scattered elsewhere. Enid Blyton was one of those, and the famous author who wrote The Famous Five, amongst others. She had her ashes actually taken up in an aeroplane and scattered over London. Look at this, isn't it beautiful? I mean, the background with the squirrels and the beautiful roses. There is no death, it says. The stars go down to rise upon some other shore. Now, just a couple of other people that have had their cremations here, but their ashes have been scattered elsewhere, are Neville Chamberlain. His ashes were taken to Westminster Abbey. Ian Drury, the famous singer, his famous song was Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick. His ashes were dispersed in the Thames, actually. T.S. Eliot, the English-American poet and playwright, his ashes were sent to St. Michael's Church in Somerset. David Guest, his ashes were scattered in York. We've just seen his plaque. Henry Irving, stage actor in Victorian London. His ashes are in Westminster Abbey. Rudyard Kipling, he's in Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey as well. Vivian Leigh, she was cremated here, but her ashes were scattered in Sussex. And of course, Peter O'Toole, the wonderful Irish actor, his ashes were taken to Ireland and scattered in Connemara. H.G. Wells, his were scattered at sea. And Amy Winehouse, you guys. She had her service here, but her ashes were taken to Edgeworbury Cemetery, where she was buried alongside her grandmother, her beloved grandmother. Now this one here is the children's garden, and this has really broke me. And it reads, "To my angel Kira, who I never got to know, it was hard for me to let you go. I had so many dreams for you. I will never forget you. I will always love you. You're my baby, and I'm proud to have called you my child. You are my world. God bless you, baby. Love, Mummy and Daddy." Oh my God, my heart. This is a lovely little dedication here to young babies. Here, baby Greta and Kyle. Jay Priestley, bless your souls, forever loved and missed, Mom and Dad. Our hearts will forever ache to hold you. Such a heartbreak that nobody should endure. Your little brother Adam and your parents, Charles and Stephanie, will treasure you forever. Such a gorgeous little garden of rest. I would walk around, but there's a lady reflecting in there, folks, and I don't want to disturb her. Such personal messages to the beautiful little babies here. Taking us right up here will bring us along to one of the most famous graves in London. That is frequent visitors. I was here last week and all the flowers have been removed. But there's a couple still there, I think. It was his anniversary in September. Right here is the resting place of Marc Bolan, you guys. Buried here with his mum and dad. It quite just simply says Marc. Somebody's left a lovely little letter for him. It says, singer-songwriter and guitarist and poet, pioneer of the glam rock movement. Of course, he was a massive influence to a huge range of artists, including punk artists, post-punk, indie, rock, Britpop, and new wave. Oh, this is divine. Somebody actually had this made for him. You can see T-Rex there. Of course, the swan on the bench is reference to his first single, Ride a White Swan. And they're famous also for Hot Love, Get It On, Telegram Sam, and Metal Guru. Mark Field, it says there, born to boogie. And we have his dedication there. So his recent anniversary was September 16th. He died in a tragic car crash, of course. And there is, I believe, a bust of him at that. That was in London somewhere. You guys can put that in the comments for me. It's just, I'm forgetting it right now as I'm thinking. Now, getting inside the Columbariums, they will take you to see some of the most famous graves in there. Well, ashes in there, rather. It's also a resting place of Peter Sellers, Bram Stoker, Anna Pavlova, Sigmund Freud, the famous pioneer of psychoanalysis. His wife is buried with him, and his daughter Anna, who followed him into the same field. I suppose the most exciting one for me there was Bram Stoker, the author, of course, of Dracula, but also the manager of the Lyceum Theatre for a long time in Covent Garden here in London. Let's take a little walk down here towards the Japanese garden. I want to show you these places of rest alongside this beautiful pond. And we can go and have a look at some of the famous plaques. Because Sid James is down here. Actually, a very fascinating woman is also buried here. Edith Rosenbaum, one of the survivors of the Titanic. There's an incredible story when she did massive amount of interviews after the sinking of the Titanic over the years, speaking of the day that she survived. And prior to that, she was also in a very serious car crash, but she recovered from that as well. So she cheated death twice, actually. Now, her mother gave her a gift after that car crash of this kind of a musical pig. And apparently the pig was symbol of good luck in France. And she gave it to her actually to keep her safe. So she brought this little small musical pig everywhere she went. She had promised her mother she'd carry it with her. And it was this little musical toy pig that apparently she used to soothe the terrified children who were hysterical on the lifeboats that night during the sinking of the Titanic. Now, she played the music from this little toy pig to soothe them, and apparently it's now in the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich. So she was cremated here. Look at this beautiful place. Now we're just going to go over the bridge here, and there are lovely benches for reflection and prayer everywhere you go. I nearly went flying there into the water. Could you imagine? That would have been fun. Let's have a look at a few of these. Helen Trent, John Grossman, Sir Henry Carr, Louis Dyer. The weather is beautiful. The sun is shining. Oh, look, you can even reserve some of them. This one is reserved here. What a place to spend eternity. For these very lucky people whose ashes have been interred here. Gorgeous little garden of rest, you guys. And a lovely nature reserve that you yourself can come and visit. And say a quiet prayer for all these holy souls and their rest in eternal place. If you ever imagine somewhere that could be quite similar to heaven, where spirit does go, I'd be quite happy with somewhere like this. Now, the mortuary and burial practices I speak about quite frequently have a lot of people at the moment, especially Neolithic man, because Stonehenge is quite possibly one of the largest Neolithic cemeteries in the world, and I'm doing a lot of tours to Stonehenge lately. So we learned an awful lot about our burial and mortuary practices and the mortuary practices of Neolithic man at Stonehenge. So be curious to know, you guys, what types of religions are watching. Because I know, obviously, I'm only really familiar with Catholic ceremonies. But I'd like to know how it works for all of your religions. So tell me where you're from. And a little bit about the burial practices in your faith. Or how you yourself would like to be remembered, I guess. Now, everywhere you look along this path, there are little resting places of these people. And it just seems so poetic. It doesn't seem so chaotic. And this magnificent statue here was a gift to the cemetery from the Royal Academy of Arts, actually. And this is called Into the Silent Land by Henry Pegram. And it looks like an angel lifting up one of the souls right up to heaven, right in the middle of the resting places of some of these holy souls. Okay, we'll take you down and we'll see a few more plaques on the wall. Now, I did manage to get a couple of bits of footage inside the columbariums, but they're not usually open to the public. But I had a little tour, and they are very open and receptive to you visiting here. And you can also have a little wander around yourselves. And if there's anything specific you want to see, they will take you in to the locked parts of the building. So they're very, very sweet here. And it's very well run and very respectfully run. And the gardens are just magnificent. They're wonderfully maintained as well. You know what, let's have a little look inside here at some of these plaques. There's Malcolm Simon Kaufman, died in 2016, a man of passion. He did it his way. How lovely. Wonder what our epitaph would be. Wonderful mother, wife and daughter. Private tomb. We don't see as many of them here as we would in Highgate, you guys. So don't forget to check out Highgate as well. It's probably one of the most magnificent places of rest in London. This is dedicated to the Communist Party. They call it Communist Corner here. Now it's along here somewhere that Peter Sellers is, I believe. Yeah, he's here somewhere, and I did find him before. I know, but his plaque is here somewhere, but I know where his resting place is anyway, so I'll bring you there. He played Inspector Clouseau, of course, in the Pink Panther series. He was in Stanley Kubrick's Lolita. He was in Doctor Strangelove and Casino Royale. He himself as well, like so many before him, was plagued with addiction. Married 4 times, actually, as well. He died quite young, actually, of a heart attack at the age of 54. But I guess he was as famous for his erratic behaviour and because of his compulsive addictions. And he would have been actually laid to rest over here. I must find it. I can't find the plaque now, you guys. I feel bad. I'll have a look again in a minute, but I definitely know he's laid to rest here, because I was told a rather intriguing story that one of his biggest fans... oh, there he is. Yeah, the reason I know, look at this plot here, has been reserved. This is quite bizarre. She's a huge fan of Peter Sellers, and she insisted on being buried beside him. So that really is fandom at its finest. I daren't say any more than that. My darling husband, I will always love you. He died in 1980. 55 years of age. Yeah, 54 I thought it was, but he was just in his 55th year. And this plot reserved for a lady that was a massive fan, you guys. Well, there you have it. That's dedication. And we're going to go through here. Now I did get a bit of access into the Columbarium, but I wanted... Oh, there's the Ivor Novello bed. They're calling it Ivor Novello. His plaque is here as well. Of course, the very famous Ivor Novello Award was named after him. Actor, writer, director, star of stage and screen. Huge influence on the theatre in London. And this is inside everywhere you go. All plaques dedicated to people and personal stories and personal epitaphs for their loved ones, you guys. This one's rather special here. This is Gertrude Eliot. And we have a couple down here. This is the Ivor Novello one up here. Let's have a quick look. See him up there? There you go. I guess some of his more famous roles. One of his first big hits was a beautiful song actually called Keep the Home Fires Burning, which was, for obvious reasons, very popular in World War One, the First World War. And not only did he write music, but as a famous actor, he worked with Alfred Hitchcock. Then he was on the West End, and he appeared in productions of Glamorous Night and Perchance to Dream and King's Rhapsody. Ironically, it was a coronary thrombosis he died of in 1958 after starring and coming off stage and starring in King's Rhapsody. Such talented people. Look at this beautiful area. Now, it would be impossible to get through all the plaques, but I did give it a lot of time reading a lot of the personal ones and offered up a silent prayer, but some of the more famous are inside the columbariums. And I will show you what I did manage to capture inside there. So this is one of the Columbariums that I got access to. This is the Ernest George one. I'm going to show you what I managed to get inside this building. And there's another walkway here brings us back down to where it all began. So yeah, one of the most famous crematorium in the UK. Without a question, I doubt the busiest. And that is going to kick off our Halloween series, my lovelies. Now I know you're all going to tell me where you are and hear about your funeral practices, but I'd also like to hear if there's anything specific you want me to film for Halloween. Anywhere that you would like me to go. Come on, you gotta have some suggestions, you guys. I know you will. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you enjoy these videos, that really does help out our analytics. Subscribing is free. All you have to do is just click on the button, on the bell notification. And an enormous thanks, as always, for all of your PayPals and your Buy Me a Coffees. You've kept me going, guys. You keep me going. I'm always so grateful to you for that. That really helps us to keep filming these amazing videos, which I hope you enjoy watching as much as I enjoy doing. Let's have a quick look inside here for a minute. This is actually the Jewish dedication room. And there is another plaque commemorating Marc, who of course himself was Jewish, the 20th century boy, still loved and missed 20 years on. That concludes our little visit to this wonderful garden of rest, my lovelies. And this is the beautiful Golders Green Crematorium and Mausoleum in northwest London. Hope you enjoyed that, my lovelies. See you all on the next one. Sinead signing out here in London in this beautiful, spiritual and magical place.